Hello everyone and welcome back to English Pod. We have an upper intermediate lesson for you today. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. So today we're talking about something that everyone who's ever lived away from home has felt before.
Right, and that's the word we're going to preview today. The word is homesick.
All right, so let's take a look at that in today's language preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so homesick. If you feel homesick or you are homesick.
Well, yeah, you could say, I'm homesick right now, or are you feeling homesick? So it's a word that means I miss my home, I miss my family, I'm far away, or I haven't seen my family in a long time, and for some reason you just feel sad.
Okay, so it's a feeling. You feel a little bit depressed, you feel sad because you're homesick.
Right.
Okay, so this is what's happening today in our dialogue, so let's listen to it for the first time.
Tom, how are you? Hey, we missed you at the party last night. Are you okay?
I don't know. I didn't really feel like going out. I guess I'm feeling a little homesick.
Come on. We've been through this already. Look, I know the adjustment was hard when you first got here, but we agreed that you were going to try and deal with it.
I was. It's just that the holidays are coming up and I won't be able to go home because I can't afford the airfare. I'm just longing for some of the comforts of home, like my mom's cooking and being around my family.
Yeah, it can get pretty lonely over the holidays. When I first got here, I'd get depressed and nostalgic for anything that reminded me of home. I almost let it get to me, but then I started going out, keeping myself busy, and before I knew it, I was used to it.
I see what you mean, but I'm still bummed out.
Okay, how does this sound? Let's get you suited up and hit the dance club tonight. I hear that an awesome DJ is playing, and there will be a lot of pretty single girls there.
You know, I could really go for that. You don't mind being my wingman for tonight?
Not at all. It'll be fun. It will be like a boys' night out. Well, kinda.
Great! I must warn you though, whatever happens, don't let me go on a drinking binge. Trust me, it's not a pretty picture.
Alrighty, we're back. So, yeah, I guess he's very homesick.
Very homesick. And his friend is really worried.
Yeah, but actually, I think this is common, right? To be homesick during the holidays, like Christmas, for example.
Oh, man. It's the worst during the holidays because you think of all the traditions and all the things that you normally do at home and you're not doing them.
So this is something we're going to talk more about a little bit later on, but let's take a look at some of the language that was used in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
This first one is key, right? So when you move away from home or when you move to a new place, you have a period of adjustment. So adjustment is kind of finding the right balance or doing something so that you can kind of feel comfortable.
Okay, so you have to adjust to your new life away from home.
Or your new environment. So many times people say, wow, moving to China must be a big adjustment. So it means there's so many differences that it must take a long time to feel comfortable again.
Okay. All right, so that's adjustment. What else do we have?
Well, we've got this next phrase that's really important, I think, but often gets overlooked. We say the comforts of home, right?
Comforts of home.
So comfort's pretty easy, right? Feeling comfortable. So you
Right.
have comfort. But the comforts of home are things that are different with every person. But those are things that you have at your home or your childhood home or your parents' home that make you feel good and feel happy.
So they're not only physical things or objects, right? They can be like your mom's cooking or maybe even just spending time with your family.
Right, or reading the newspaper with your dad or things that you're used to that you don't have anymore. And so those are the comforts of home. I could say, Marco, do you miss the comforts of home in Ecuador? I mean, do you have anything that's really...
Of course. I think one of the main things is actually not living in the city because I used to live in the valley, a little bit further away and kind of almost countryside. So that's one of the comforts of home that I miss.
Oh, you're making me nostalgic and I've never even been. All right, well, this is our next word, actually.
Right? Nostalgic.
Nostalgic. It's a feeling. I'm feeling nostalgic, or he's just really nostalgic. And so to be nostalgic is to kind of think about a time before, or, think positively about something that you experienced before. So it's not usually a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. It's
Right.
Nostalgia is a good, warm, fond memory of something.
Of something from your past. So you start thinking of something from your past that maybe brings nice, warm feelings. Maybe a little bit sad because you miss those times, but it's usually thinking about the past.
Right. So I have nostalgia for my childhood. I loved, summers in Chicago when it was hot and the kids would play in the sprinkler and I had my dog and, it's a happy feeling. Mhm.
Right. So nostalgia would be the noun and nostalgic would be the adjective.
Exactly.
All right. And our last word for today on language takeaway is bummed out.
Bummed out. Okay.
I'm bummed out.
We've got another feeling here, so we're all full of feelings today. Bummed out is a sad feeling. So to be bummed is kind of slang, and it means to be sad.
Okay. Or disappointed.
Disappointed. So you come into the office, Marco, and you look a little tired, and I said, "Are you okay? Are you bummed out about something?"
I can say, yeah, I lost my wallet last night, so I'm really bummed out.
Oh.
Or something like that.
So yeah, you feel bummed out when something bad or sad happens
Right.
to you.
All right, so why don't we move on now to a couple of different phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency builder.
All right, this first one is something that you often say to old friends or family. When you're friends with someone, they go through periods of happiness and sadness. And so when someone's going through a down period again, you say, "Oh, we've been through this already."
We've been through this already.
Or, when you're giving someone advice and they never take your advice, you say, "Listen, we've been through this already. You should know by now that and then, whatever the advice
So
is.
this has happened before, or we have experienced this before, or we already solved this problem or situation.
Right. You could imagine two bank robbers who are going over their plan for the 10th time, and then the one says to the other, "Hey, we've been through this already. You
All
should
right.
know the plan by now."
Exactly. All right, so we've been through this already. They were talking about the adjustments and everything. And then what other phrase did they use?
Well, the next couple of phrases have to do with the friend's suggestions because she has a lot of ideas to cheer her friend up, the
Okay.
depressed one. And the first thing she says is, "Hey, let's hit the dance club."
Okay, let's hit the dance club, or let's hit the dance floor tonight.
All right, so hit in this case doesn't mean like hit.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're punching someone. It means to go to or to do.
All right, so we can say, let's go to the dance club tonight. Let's hit the dance club.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a dance club, but let's hit that concert tonight. Yeah, I really
or-
want to go there.
Okay, so you can hit pretty much any place, right?
Exactly. And this is a very kind of spoken language, so you wouldn't say this in your essays, but it's a good way to talk about plans with friends.
All right. And our next word actually is kind of interesting because it's very colloquial, and it's a wingman. I can be your
Okay.
wingman tonight.
So wingman, you have to think about wing meaning side, not like a bird's wing. So a wing means side, and a wingman is a guy who will go with you to a bar or a club to kind of help you find a date or a girl or someone to talk to.
Okay, so this person, this wingman, usually keeps you company and helps you decide maybe what girl to talk to, or maybe even introduces you to someone
Right.
at a club or at a restaurant or bar or whatever.
And, the key is that people don't like to go alone to bars, right? Because you feel sad and then you look weird because you're all alone. And
Right.
the same is true for girls. And so if a guy wants to go to a bar and he sees two girls, well, he has to have a friend to talk to the other girl.
Right.
So a wingman also helps in that sense. He helps balance things.
All right, so there's a whole science behind the wingman.
Yeah, I'm sure if you look it up on Wikipedia, you'll find 10 pages of information.
All right, so since they are going out tonight, they said it could be boys' night out.
Okay, so this is another phrase you hear all the time, especially among young people. Boys' night out and girls' night out. And so, sometimes you spend a lot of time with your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you just want to have some time with your friends.
Right.
And so you call this girls' night. For me, girls' night out, you just go out and you do girl things. Guys' night out, you do other things.
Okay.
And so in
So
this
it's
case,
girls only or guys only. Boys' night out is only guys.
Exactly. And that's why this is funny, because it's the girl who says, "Hey, let's have boys' night out." And she's
Right.
not really a boy.
All right, great. And, well, he agreed to go out and everything, but he warned her about him going on a drinking binge.
Okay, now this is important. A lot of people who are depressed or sad, when they drink a lot. And so binge means to do something in excess, to do it too much.
Okay, so a drinking binge would be drinking alcohol in excess, too much.
Too much, so getting drunk right away.
Okay.
And it's not healthy, and we do not condone it. No.
Right, exactly. Very good. So some very interesting phrases in this dialogue today. I think we should listen to it one more time and we'll be right back.
Tom, how are you? Hey, we missed you at the party last night. Are you okay?
I don't know. I didn't really feel like going out. I guess I'm feeling a little homesick.
Come on. We've been through this already. Look, I know the adjustment was hard when you first got here, but we agreed that you were going to try and deal with it.
I was. It's just that the holidays are coming up and I won't be able to go home because I can't afford the airfare. I'm just longing for some of the comforts of home, like my mom's cooking and being around my family.
Yeah, it can get pretty lonely over the holidays. When I first got here, I'd get depressed and nostalgic for anything that reminded me of home. I almost let it get to me, but then I started going out, keeping myself busy, and before I knew it, I was used to it.
I see what you mean, but I'm still bummed out.
Okay, how does this sound? Let's get you suited up and hit the dance club tonight. I hear that an awesome DJ is playing, and there will be a lot of pretty single girls there.
You know, I could really go for that. You don't mind being my wingman for tonight?
Not at all. It'll be fun. It will be like a boys' night out. Well, kinda.
Great! I must warn you though, whatever happens, don't let me go on a drinking binge. Trust me, it's not a pretty picture.
All right, we're back. So speaking of homesick and holidays, do you actually get very depressed or homesick during Christmas?
I do. Well, my family has a lot of Christmas traditions that are just really kind of wonderful, and we do them every single year. And so the first time I spent Christmas away, I was living in Italy, and it was kind of similar. But then the second time was when I was living in China. And China was just not the same. No
Right.
oven, so no Christmas cookies. And no granny who, pours vodka and eats meatballs. And like my mom not running around the kitchen. You feel lonely. And then all of a sudden you get a phone call. And it's the entire family. And they're all together eating, having an
Right.
amazing Christmas. And they think it's going to help you feel less homesick, but it makes you feel more homesick. So you definitely have nostalgia for those days during the holidays. But what about you?
I rarely get homesick, but yeah, sometimes during Christmas or New Year's. New Year's, we usually have more unique traditions in Ecuador. So it's very fun. The family gets together, we dance, we eat. So, but yeah, I've been away from home so long that I rarely get homesick anymore. But it's great to go back and spend time with the family. So after my visit to Ecuador, then I might get homesick for a little while, but then it
Then
goes
it
away.
passes.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should tell us. Do you ever feel homesick? And if you do, what do you feel homesick about? What do you miss?
Maybe mom's cooking, maybe family, maybe the comforts of home.
Yeah, so we're curious to hear your answers. We have a website, englishpod.com. You can, of course, also leave us questions. We're happy to answer those. And until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Sad because you're away from home. Homesick. Bear the cost of. Afford. Showing a strong desire for something. Longing for. Homesick. Nostalgic. Disappointed. Bummed out.
Let's try that faster.
Homesick. Nostalgic. Sad because you're away from home. Homesick. Bear the cost of. Afford. Disappointed. Bummed out. Showing a strong desire for something. Longing for.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Homesick. After 6 months living abroad, Ben started feeling homesick. Homesick. The best cure for homesickness is a phone call home. Homesick. I became homesick after looking at our family pictures. Afford. Unfortunately, I can't afford to spend money on entertainment these days. Afford. You can't afford to miss this opportunity. Afford. We were too poor to afford a doctor. Longing for. We are all longing for a peaceful world. Longing for. After 3 months of separation, he longed for his wife. Longing for. I'm longing for the summer to end. Nostalgic. The old friends shared many nostalgic memories. Nostalgic. A wave of nostalgia swept over me after seeing my childhood home again. Nostalgic. She spoke nostalgically about her school days. Bummed out. He is bummed out because his girlfriend dumped him. Bummed out. Don't be bummed out about the bad weather. There's nothing you can do about it. Bummed out. Our team lost. What a bummer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another lesson here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we're talking about a topic very close to my heart, music.
That's right, we're going to be talking about music, and more specifically, we are going to talk about musical instruments that you would use in a band.
All right, and so some people like to make their own music, get together, hang out, play music together, so that's what we're talking about today. We've got a new band that's going to start, and before we get going, we've got a word to talk about, and let's check this out in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so as I mentioned, we are going to talk about instruments.
Instruments. So you could say musical instruments, but what is an instrument, generally speaking?
Basically, it's similar to a tool, right? So an instrument is something that you use to help you realize a task. In this case, musical instruments is more specific, right?
Right. So we're talking about things that you use to make music. A piano, for example.
Is a musical instrument.
Or the drums.
All right. So this is what we're going to be looking at today in the dialogues. So let's listen to it for the first time.
I'm forming a music band.
Do you already know how to play an instrument?
Yeah. I told you 1,000 times that I'm learning to play the drums. Now that I know how to play well, I would like to form a rock band.
Aside from yourself, who are the other members of the band?
We have a guy who plays guitar and another who plays bass. Although we still haven't found anyone to be our singer. You told me that you had some musical talent, right?
Yes, I'm a singer.
Perfect! So you can audition this weekend here at my house.
Great! Wait, here? You don't have enough room for the amplifiers, microphones, or even your drums. By the way, where do you keep them or practice?
Dude, what are you talking about? It's right here. All we need is my Nintendo Wii and we're set.
All right, we're back. So apparently the band wasn't really a real band.
It wasn't, but I have to say I'm very familiar with this because I have a Nintendo Wii and I often play the game Rock Band, so I can sympathize with the characters
So
here.
you also have your own band.
I do, well, virtually speaking.
Virtually.
And I know you do too.
I do too. That's right. We are both fans of this game and this gaming console, and that's why it's such a fun dialogue. But let's take a look at some of the language that was used in this dialogue in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Oh man, so I've been in a lot of bands and I've been in a lot of musical groups. So I can say that the first instrument we want to talk about is maybe the most obnoxious, the most loud and hard to listen to.
Probably. And that instrument is the drums. Right. So the drums, it's plural because you have many drums, right?
Right. You don't just have the dum, 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 the bass drum. You have many different drums together. And so we could also call this a drum set.
A drum set. All right. So why don't we listen to an example of what a drum set sounds like? All right, we're back, so I think that's clear. Moving on to our next instrument.
This one's maybe the most popular for young people to start because you can play pretty much anything with it, and it's also good for sing-alongs.
Right, and that instrument is the guitar.
Can you play the guitar?
No, I can't. I actually wish I would have learned, but I never got around to it.
Well, this is a really beautiful instrument, and there are many different ways to play it, but generally, it's either wooden with some strings or electric, so it's plastic with some metal strings.
Right, exactly. So they have a different sound. But why don't we listen to an example of what a guitar sounds like? All right, so great example of a guitar, pretty clear. What's our next instrument?
The bass. And this one, it doesn't look like the word that's written, B-A-S-S. So we say bass.
Bass.
And it's actually a very low instrument. It's usually used to help keep the rhythm. Dum, dum, dum,
all right.
dum, dum,
so
dum.
it's similar to a guitar, right?
Very.
It's the same form, but as you say, it's lower and it makes a lower sound.
Exactly.
All right, so let's listen to an example of a bass now. All right, pretty clear. Moving on to our next word, we have an amplifier.
Okay, so an amplifier is a thing. It's usually a box that we plug in. It's electric or it's electronic, and it's a tool to make electrical instruments like the electric guitar or the electric bass louder.
Right, exactly. So an amplifier is any device that makes a sound become louder.
Exactly.
All right.
So this is really important for rock bands the world over.
Very good. Our next instrument, or actually more of a tool, is very useful for the singer.
Yeah, and it actually goes with the amplifier in many ways because the microphone, this is our next word, the microphone is something that you use to sing into to make your voice louder. So right now, Marco, you and I are both using microphones.
Exactly. So a microphone. Very good. And we have one last word, and this is a verb, to audition.
All right, to audition. So to audition means to show someone your talent, all right? So oftentimes when you start a play or an opera or a musical group, you want to have auditions. You want to audition people to see how much talent they have.
All right, so it's basically an opportunity to demonstrate your skills and abilities.
Exactly.
So a job interview wouldn't really be an audition.
No, a job interview has its own word, but here we're talking about your singing ability, your acting ability, your reading ability, and sometimes we even have auditions here at English Pod to see how comfortable people are on the microphone. It's a way to have people show what they've got.
Very good. All right. So a lot of interesting words here, many instruments. I think it's time for us to listen to our dialogue again. We're going to slow it down a little bit, and we'll be right back.
I'm forming a music band.
Do you already know how to play an instrument?
Yeah. I told you 1,000 times that I'm learning to play the drums. Now that I know how to play well, I would like to form a rock band.
Aside from yourself, who are the other members of the band?
We have a guy who plays guitar and another who plays bass, although we still haven't found anyone to be our singer. You told me that you had some musical talent, right?
Yes, I'm a singer.
Perfect! So you can audition this weekend here at my house.
Great! Wait, here? You don't have enough room for the amplifiers, microphones, or even your drums. By the way, where do you keep them or practice?
Dude, what are you talking about? It's right here. All we need is my Nintendo Wii and we're set.
All right, we're back. So moving on with our lesson, why don't we take a look now at some phrases in Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
All right, so on Fluency Builder, we have 4 phrases. What's the first one?
Well, this first phrase is really important, Marco, because we're talking about bands and starting bands. And so there's often a phrase we use to describe this. We say to form a band.
All right, so you form a band.
It's like forming something. To form is to shape it, to make it look like something that you want. And so we can form artistic projects also. But here we're forming a band. We're choosing people to bring together to make great music.
All right, so we can say form a band, or you can say as well, start a band.
Yeah.
All right. So we're forming a band, and well, his friend was surprised that the other guy knew how to play an instrument. So he said, "I've told you 1,000 times."
Wait. So he told him 1,000 times.
No, not literally.
I play an instrument. I play an instrument. I play an instrument.
Right. This is a phrase, and it's a little bit of an exaggeration to emphasize that I've told you many, many times already.
Great. So this is something we say when we're trying to exaggerate, like Marco said, or to really emphasize the point that, like, I've told you this before.
Right.
So mothers often use it. I feel like we talk about mothers a lot here. Mothers often use this phrase when kids do something wrong. They say, I've told you 1,000 times not to wear your shoes in the house.
Exactly. So it is a great phrase to really make your point that you've said something many, many times. Moving on, we have a kind of like a conjunction that you can use, and it's by the way, to change the topic maybe. By the way.
By the way. And so, by the way, we keep these words together. It's a fixed phrase. By the way is something we add on. So I say, today I went to school and I saw a lot of people. Oh, by the way, John says hi. All right. So while I'm talking about this, I want to add that this thing happened or that this person said something.
Exactly. So it's a conjunction, right? To put together 2 different ideas. By the way. Or you can start off your sentence with it. By the way, how is the new house?
Yeah. Oh, because it's like saying, oh, this thought just came into my head.
Exactly.
By the way. Da 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 da.
Right. And our last phrase on Fluency Builder is we are set.
All right, all we need is my Nintendo Wii, and we are set.
All right, so what are we set? We are set.
All right, we are set is another one of those phrases that's fixed, and it literally means, and we are ready to start. We're ready to go.
And everything is ready.
Yeah, we don't need anything else. And
right.
So, Marco, I could say to you, just bring the salad to the table and we're set. We're ready to eat.
All right. And I think we're set to listen to our dialogue for the last time. And we'll be right back and talk a little bit more about this great topic.
I'm forming a music band.
Do you already know how to play an instrument?
Yeah. I told you 1,000 times that I'm learning to play the drums. Now that I know how to play well, I would like to form a rock band.
Aside from yourself, who are the other members of the band?
We have a guy who plays guitar and another who plays bass. Although we still haven't found anyone to be our singer. You told me that you had some musical talent, right?
Yes, I'm a singer.
Perfect. So you can audition this weekend here at my house.
Great. Wait, here? You don't have enough room for the amplifiers, microphones, or even your drums. By the way, where do you keep them or practice?
Dude, what are you talking about? It's right here. All we need is my Nintendo Wii and we're set.
All right, we're back. So Rock Band now. I know that you play a real instrument, not only instruments on the Wii.
True.
What do you play?
I play the trumpet. I was
Nice.
classically trained. I started when I was 10.
Now, is this the trumpet that has the 3 buttons on the
Yes,
top?
3 pistons.
3 pistons. Because there's another one that doesn't, right?
There's one that has 4 pistons. It's a piccolo trumpet, has 4. And there's one that's large and it slides in and out, and that's a trombone. That's much
Trombone.
lower.
Right.
But the trumpet is kind of a mid-range instrument. It can go quite high and a little bit low. And it's brass. It's not wood. It's made of a metal.
Right. It's it looks like gold, right?
Right. Dum, da, da, da.
All right. So you play the trumpet. Did you play in a band or in a
Yeah.
in
I played
school
in-
or college?
In middle school and high school, I played in bands and orchestras. And in college, I played in orchestra. And I've also played in rock bands because sometimes people want to,
Have a trumpet in the
have a
background.
trumpet and go a little crazy.
Nice. Interesting. This is interesting because I'm sure a lot of our users out there actually play instruments, and maybe a lot of them are also good at it. So come to englishpod.com, leave your questions and comments, and let us know if you play any instruments or maybe some strange instruments like the xylophone.
Or if you like to play Wii Rock Band, because we certainly do, and we can support you on that one.
We can give you some tips.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see you guys there. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
A device that is used to make music. Instrument. Many times. 1,000 times. Create, organize. Form. To take part in a trial performance. Audition. We are ready. We are set.
Let's try that faster.
Many times. 1,000 times. Create, organize. Form. A device that is used to make music. Instrument. To take part in a trial performance. Audition. We are ready. We are set.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Instrument. I know a friend who knows how to play 5 musical instruments. Instrument. What kind of instrument is that? Instrument. Have you ever studied a musical instrument? 1,000 times. You didn't remember to pick up the cake? I've told you 1,000 times that it's ready. 1,000 times. I've told him 1,000 times to pick up his room and he never listens. I've had enough of this. 1,000 times. I've told you 1,000 times to lock the door, and what do? You leave it open again. Form. We're forming a band. Want to join? Form. They just formed a book club. It's been really successful so far. Form. I like to form my own opinions about movies, so I never read reviews before I see them. Audition. Kim was nervous because she felt she hadn't practiced her lines enough before the audition. Audition. I'd like to audition for the university orchestra, but I'm too shy. Audition. His audition went really well. The judges accepted him on the spot. We are set. I just have to add the finishing touches on the cake, and then we're set. We are set. Are we set to leave? No, I left my purse in the house. We are set. The plans for the party are all set. Now we just need to send out the invitations.